Hi, I'm Sophia.
Hi, I'm Meredith.
And this is our project. So we're seeing which type of drinks grows a plant the tallest by
Meredith Payne
and Sophia Wagner. Sample abstract. In this project, we're trying to figure out if some drinks are useful to your normal water-growing plants. We used ryegrass seeds to test our hypothesis. Meredith did the undiluted liquids to the plants, and Sophia did the diluted plants. Before we tested our hypothesis, we evened the plant out so that later it would have been easier to measure. Sophia did milk and water, vinegar and water, water, Coke and water, coffee and water, apple juice and water. Meredith did the following, but without adding the same amount of water to the plant. To test our hypothesis, we added different liquids to the ryegrass and measured it every week to see if other liquids can grow the plants as the same as water does. Overall, we found out that vinegar died off in week 2 through week 6. After that, the fumes from the vinegar died off the plant around it.
Hypothesis.
Sophia's hypothesis. I think that the water will grow the plant the tallest because water is used for growing plants most often. It stimulates plants to grow and contributes to the general hardness of the entire plant. Generally speaking, water has lots of minerals. Water alone does not supplement any minerals for the plant.
Meredith's hypothesis. I think that the milk will make the grass grow tall and grow the tallest. I think that because the nutrients will make the grass grow tall and strong.
Materials, what we were using for the experiment. Sophia used water, milk and water, vinegar and water, Coke and water, coffee and water, apple juice and water, grass seeds, pots, and dirt.
Meredith used water, milk, vinegar, Coke, coffee, apple juice, grass seeds, pots, and dirt.
Independent variable. We changed the different types of liquids that we added to the plants. Meredith added the liquids every other day to her plants. Sophia added a mixture of half liquid, half water to her plants every other day.
Dependent variable. We measured how tall the plants were in each pot in centimeters.
Constants. We used the same amount of liquid on each plant, the same types of ryegrass seed, and the same amount of sunlight for the plants.
Procedure. We planted 14 pots with dirt and fast-growing ryegrass seeds. We covered the pots with saran wrap to add the greenhouse effect. We put the pots in sunshine for a week. During this week, we added equal amounts of water as needed. Then our experiment began. We added the assigned liquids to each plant every other day, and then measured the plants. We recorded our measurements. We took pictures as well.
Data, height of plants in centimeters.
This is basically a graph of how the plants grew
every 3 days or every other day. So our water was at 4, and then
it hyped up,
and then it got taller and it went to 9 inches. And Coke stayed the same for 6 weeks, which isn't really. I was kind of surprised and shocked because it was growing really fast. Then apple juice booted up to 8 at week 4. And then week 5, it went to 7 1/4, 7 1/4. And then the coffee was at 8.5. And then vinegar was at 6 at week 2, and then it died down at 1 right away.
Now in my undiluted liquids, you can see the different heights of the plants. On week 1, they all started at 4 inches, and some of them went up, some of them went down. As you can see, the milk definitely spoiled and only went down to 2 inches, so that was kind of cool.
And it really shocked us. Photos of plants getting undiluted liquid.
So these are all my photos of the plants through week 1 through week 6.
And all the fumes from the vinegar died off the plants in week 5, and then all the plants were all the way down to the dirt at week 6. Conclusions. Sophia's conclusion: diluted liquids. In conclusion, the vinegar killed the plant, leaving it down to the dirt. The coffee started working until the week after that. It started dying down. I believe the fumes from the vinegar started dying it down. The milk started getting feasted by flies. It was good for 3 weeks or so, and it started dying down also because of the lactose. The water is growing really well, I think because of the air, water, and carbon dioxide. Coke is on the same level as water, but is now growing very slowly because of the caffeine, sugar, and phosphoric acids. The apple juice was dying down too because of the vitamin C. I don't think it was suitable for the plant.
In conclusion, the vinegar killed most of its plant. The vinegar did not do so well because of its acetic acid. Also, something really cool that happened was that the undiluted vinegar fumes were so strong that they killed the plants beside it. The vinegar harmed the plants because of its acetic acid. The milk did okay until it started to spoil. It did that because the milk was not being refrigerated. The coffee plant didn't grow very well, but the most important thing is that it actually smelled good. That was because of the cocoa beans. The water did predictably well until the vinegar killed it. That was because the water was so close and the vinegar was so strong. The plant that had nothing in it wasn't that exciting, and it didn't survive very well without liquid. Coke did okay, but the only problem was that what was inside of Coke. Coke has a lot of sugar in it, and sugar is bad for plants. Finally, the apple juice was also overpowered by the vinegar, so it didn't do so well like the other plants.
What do plants like? Plants like liquid, air, nutrients. Plants like to drink water, milk, juice, and coffee. They don't like soft drinks because of the amount of sugar in it. They don't like vinegar because of the acid. They don't like milk once it spoils.
How plants grow. Plants grow with carbon dioxide, soil, and water. Carbon dioxide is made of one carbon and 2 oxygen atoms. The carbon and oxygen atoms are used to build glucose molecules. The soil needs to be moist enough for the plants to readily absorb water in the soil. The water is the main reason the plants can grow by transporting nutrients in the plant, and from soil photosynthesis is a process that converts light and carbon dioxide into sugars that the plant uses for energy. A byproduct of the photosynthesis process is oxygen. Carbon dioxide is what plants need most. Plants also need enough water, soil, and sun to grow the plant. The pigment in plants that make leaves green is called chlorophyll. We know if the plants are getting enough water, nutrients, and sun, if they are not turning wilty or turning yellow.
Ingredients of liquids used: Coke, caffeine, sugar, phosphoric acid, cocoa leaf extract. Coffee beans, cocoa beans, kola nuts, tea leaves. Milk, water, fat, proteins, lactose, milk sugar. Milk, water, fat, proteins, lactose, milk sugar. Vinegar, acetic acid, maybe flavorings, malic acid. Apple juice, vitamin C. Water, H2O.
What are some pros and cons about the experiment and how we change it? Some pros of the experiment are that most of the drinks we mixed in with the water can destroy or kill the plant. We can change this by either taking the drinks out of the project and think of a new additive, or we can examine it and take little samples of it on dying plants. Some pros are water is most often used in plants. As previously indicated, plants absorb most of the minerals out of the water. Since we are using a drink mixed with water, the plant will most likely absorb the minerals from the water, creating sugar.
This is our references, what we got from the experiment. This is where we got most of our data from it. And so, yeah, this is what we used. Now we'll go back to the rough draft.
Now I'm going to ask some questions. Now, the first question is, what interests you about this topic, and where did you get the idea for your project?
Something that interests me and Meredith on the topic is that we didn't know that other liquids other than water, could grow plants. Because I thought that was just for drinking and stuff. And I didn't know that you could actually grow plants by doing that. And how we got the idea is basically we just thought of an idea after we studied light, Meredith thought it was a good idea to do something on plants, like how tall can plants grow by different drinks. So that's one.
Now, the second question is, what did you learn about the science behind your project before and in the experiment?
Something we learned about the science behind our project was that the science behind it is mostly from the photosynthesis and from the ingredients in it. And before our project, the vinegar wasn't dying, and we already knew that the vinegar was going to die off because it wasn't mainly used for plants, and we already knew that. And during the experiment, almost all the fumes from the vinegar died off the plants around it.
Now, the third question is, if you had to do it again, what would you change? What improvements would you make?
If we had to change it, I think we would add more references. So we did get a lot of info from that one reference, but I think we could add more references, and maybe we could add something other than just plants, and maybe we could add different other plants and see if that changes it. And what improvements we would make is we would probably improvise our data and our grammar and spelling because it wasn't really that good. And what more improvements we would make is we would probably, like I said, add more detail and more data so people actually knew what was happening, and maybe we could add other plants to see if it'll change it or if it'll be the same.
Now, the last question is, based upon what you have learned, how can this knowledge benefit society?
This is basically saying that you should always plant your plants every day or when it's needed. And upon what I've learned is photosynthesis is super, super good for plant growing. So you should keep it in sun and water it a lot. And good moist soil is actually really good for plants. So that's something that I learned. What have you learned from the experiment?
I've learned that photosynthesis is really good for growing plants, and I think that this can benefit society if people are having a water shortage. You can use different types of liquids to even grow your own plants.
But we prefer to dilute the plants by adding a little bit of tap water with the liquid you're going to use. And we suggest that you use coffee with water because it grew the plant. And Coke wasn't good. Milk started getting feasted by flies. Vinegar was just dying off the plant, and so that's our experiment. We hope you have a good day. Bye!